Hello, Daphne here with a love story for you about a precious dachshund and a dog that became a world traveler. So difficult to describe the love I have for this precious little sausage of a dog. Gadget, who was a chocolate-colored dachshund, was a gift from my father to my twin sister and me, a darling puppy who would become a world traveler. We'll never forget the day Daddy brought Gadget home. My sister and I were playing across the street from our home outside San Francisco, California. We heard Daddy calling us to come and have some watermelon. My twin and I rushed to his side because we loved having watermelon in the backyard with our father. When we looked inside the carton in his hand, what did we see? Not a watermelon, but a precious, precious little baby dachshund. To say mine was love at first sight is an understatement. The profound feelings of love I had for this little Gadget lasted for his lifetime, and every time I think about him, I can still feel the amount of love I had for this very special dog, and what a personality he had. Before continuing, I'd like to issue an invitation to assist us in building our channel here. If you like our content, we'd be ever so grateful if you would become a subscriber. Thank you. After the arrival of this adorable puppy, we had to decide on a name. Gadget was chosen because there was a girl dachshund down the street named Trinket. Gadget and Trinket would become great friends, and my twin sister and I enjoyed playing with them when they were together. Just a couple of months after Gadget became a member of our family, my dearly beloved father died. Gadget would be his last gift to us. For the remainder of Gadget's life, I connected this precious little dog with my father. After Daddy passed away, Gadget and our entire family moved back to the East Coast from California. That was where my mother's family lived and many of her friends. This was Gadget's first plane ride. At under a year old, he flew coast to coast, the start of many travels yet to come. Before leaving California, I want to show you this picture of my father and Gadget. Look at how that little tiny dog in his arms. My twin sister on the left, and that's me on the right. And here my father got up and put Gadget in the seat. And, we were looking on him admiringly, as you can tell by the expressions on our face. Oh, he was so cute. So we moved back to the East Coast and settled in Washington, D.C. And here I am in the backyard of our home there with Gadget in my arms. And I love this picture. I just love that dog so much. And Gadget would always wag his tail like crazy whenever he'd see me, but actually it wasn't exclusive to me. I think he loved attention from absolutely anyone, but he was an amazingly fun dog. Okay, moving forward. After living in Washington, D.C. several years, Bev and I, over that time period, took Gadget for walks up at Montrose Park. Montrose Park was a beautiful park near our house where we were living in Georgetown. On occasion, we would run into a very wonderful gentleman with a standard-sized French poodle named Gigi. He seemed to take a liking to us, and Gigi and Gadget seemed to like one another, so we always had a good time when we were at the park at the same time. Oh gosh, Gigi was the sweetest dog. She and her owner was just a wonderful, wonderful man. Fast forward several months. My twin sister and I were under strict orders one evening from our mother to be on our very best behavior. Why? Because she was bringing home the man she would be marrying to introduce to us. When the two of them walked in the door, the first thing out of my mouth was, "We know him." As you can imagine, my mother was totally shocked. Then I explained the story about Gadget and Gigi and meeting Gigi's daddy on our visits to the park. And my soon-to-be adoptive father was such a great man. How fortunate was my mother to marry two such outstanding human beings, and how fortunate were my twin sister and me to be so fortunate to have another absolutely exceptional person in our lives following the death of our beloved father. After living in Washington, D.C. for several years, my new father was transferred overseas as a Foreign Service officer. First post, Port-au-Prince, Haiti. That was Gadget's first trip outside the United States. But he and Gigi both survived the trip, and they both seem to thrive living in Haiti. But before leaving Washington, D.C., I want to show you this picture of me and Gadget. Oh, that's a favorite picture. Gadget was so lovable. I love that dog. Well, I keep saying that. Sorry about that. And here's a picture of me with Gigi before I think that we knew that Gigi's daddy would become our daddy. And here we are in Montrose Park with Gadget and Gigi and our about-to-be father. And here's my mother and father with Gadget. And this is the last picture of Gadget and Gigi before we left for Haiti. By the way, here's a picture of Gadget and Gigi in the driveway of our house, which was in Canopy Vert, right above Port-au-Prince, and that's the Bay of Port-au-Prince, right in the distance there. Vacation people were just wonderful. We loved Haiti, and it was because of the wonderful people there. Anyway, 2 years after the assignment in Haiti, my father was transferred to the American Embassy in Tripoli, Libya. This time, Gadget would be riding across the ocean on the This time he would be flying across the ocean to his new home in Libya. I'd also like to invite you to join my Facebook group, Second Half Travel Adventures. You're going to love the content where we travel all over the world to exciting destinations. So come join us, Second Half Travel Adventures. Gadget and Gigi both loved living in Libya. My father was in Benghazi for the first couple of years, and then he was in Tripoli for the first couple of years. Then he went to Benghazi. At that time, Libya had 2 capitals. Actually, I think they might even have 3 now, but anyway, in our days they had 2. Gadget and Gigi both loved living outside of Benghazi in the beautiful village where our home was in Cyrene. It was there we would take them to the beach to chase balls and to swim in the Mediterranean Sea. Here's a picture in Libya of my father and the American Embassy chauffeur with Gigi jumping over their arms. Oh, I love this picture. Gigi had so much fun doing that. One of the sad things in Libya was that Gigi died. Oh. When I heard the news, I was back in the United States in college. It was tragic. She was such a sweet dog, and I so regretted I didn't have a chance to give her a last kiss and a hug. So anyway, after the assignment in Libya was over, Gadget would be going on another adventure. He would be flying from Benghazi to Tripoli, then to Naples, Italy, where he would board a ship, the SS Constitution, for New York City. And before doing that, he had to get a certificate of health. And there it is. Issued by the Doctor of Veterinary Medicine, United States Operation Mission, Libya. And then Here's his actual ticket. $50 to go from Naples to New York. Anyway, very amusing. So after returning to the United States, by that time I was married and I had a little girl, and Gadget came to live with us. Gadget's last plane ride was from New York to New Orleans, Louisiana. His world travels were over after that. By this time, Gadget was getting old. So sad for me to watch his health deteriorate. After all, this precious puppy was the last gift from my biological father. His sickness became so great, I had to make the very painful decision to put Gadget to sleep. I'm sure any of you that have had pets and have had to do the same thing can imagine the sorrow I felt at that moment. There's no way to describe how totally heartbroken I was to say goodbye to the special family member who I had loved so dearly. And this picture here of my daughter is the very last picture of Gadget, and you can see by his little paws and his nose that he's gotten old and gray. Oh my goodness, how I hated saying goodbye to that adorable little animal. He was just personality plus, just a great dog. Despite my sadness, my memories of Gadget are with me forever. He was the most adorable dog. I loved him to distraction. He had such a great personality, sweet and cuddly and stubborn as he could be. But I don't want to leave you without one final amusing story. One weekend in Georgetown, before we left Washington, D.C., we went on a canoe trip down the Potomac River. Gigi rode with us, but Gadget refused to get in the canoe. He swam behind us the entire trip. When our adventure ended, there was great worry about Gadget being totally exhausted, along with the possibility that that little heart of his might just stop after swimming miles. When we arrived home, my father gave our intrepid swimmer a shot of brandy. Well, Gadget went right to sleep and was just fine the next day. Thank you very much. So that's my story about a precious little dog that meant so much to me all those years ago, the last gift from my biological father. Well, I hope you and Gigi are having fun in heaven. That's all I can say to you, Gadget. I love you both.